Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In today's video we are playing on Soulstone Survivors again, and because yesterday we had a blast in our blast skill random skill type game, we decided we wanted to completely randomize it from character selection all the way to what skill type we can use. So let's get straight to the wheel of names and let's see what we get. Here we are at the wheel of names. We're going to start off with which character we are going to be playing on. It is randomized, we do have all the characters over here, so let's go. We spin the wheel. Let's see who we have to play with today. Hopefully it's one of the characters that have a passive. It is the Hound Master. So we've got ourselves the Hound Master, which is fantastic. We will be playing on him, and then we're going to check which skill typing we are going to be using. Hopefully it will be a skill typing that he does not have, but even if it is one that he does have, it will be possibly something that he doesn't usually run. And we landed up with fire. So let's get straight into it and let's look at our runes that we are going to be playing with. We are on the Hound Master, as the Wheel of Names had suggested, and our runes are going to be Multicast Mastery. It will be the best rune in the game for absolutely any build, any character, anything. Multicast Mastery is always picked on all of my characters. We then have Skill Mastery, Skill Inclination, and Skill Affinity Fire, and then we have Unconventional Start because we need to make sure that we have the fire skills. Now we did actually do a build where we did something similar to this, where we buffed our dogs using the adaptive empowerment, but we're not going to be doing that today. We are just running any fire build, any fire skill that we get on our character. The only other thing we need to do is decide which one of these we are going to be going for. We got cast frequency, damage, and crit. We got crit damage, movement speed, and multicast. And then we got movement speed, cast frequency, and crit damage chance. So I think we are going to start with the Rifleman's Vengeance. I do like the movement speed and the cast frequency, and we will go from there. So hopefully we get some really good fire skills. We can only choose the first 8 that we get, so we are going to have to lock 1 or 2. It doesn't actually help locking using Conflagrate, because we're not going to actually deal damage to anything there. So we are going to have to start with Flame Weave and go from there. The nice thing about having our Hound Master is that he has his pets, so the beginning of the run is going to be relatively easy. It will just be the later curses that's going to be much more difficult. Alright, we have to take Conflagrate there, and then what we do have to do is we do have 4 more slots to take, and because the game gives us 8 active skills instead of 6 now, we do have to kind of just pick the first going from left to right, and just make sure that we do have all the fire skills that are randomized for us. So we are going to be taking these skills. We did get Firestorm, which is really cool. Fire Pillar's great, and Firewalk is an interesting one. Not really one of my first choices, but we did get Firestorm, which is very strong. So this looks like it's going to be a fantastic run, and we should be in a super good spot. Oh yes, I remember now. I was testing things out with adaptive empowerment and all of the characters and their passives, because adaptive empowerment is bugged. If you do have 6 fire skills, it does seem to buff character passives as well, and not just your skills. So if you do want to try something weird, that is so sad. We cannot use Fiery Blades even though we found it. We do have to use Meteor because we are going from left to right. That is so sad. I am really unhappy about that, but I can't do anything about it. We do have to go with what we said earlier, and we do have to go with those skills, unfortunately. So it is what it is, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Obviously, if you are doing this, you can grab yourselves fiery blades, being very, very strong. It would have been really, really fantastic to have had, but unfortunately, we got to go with how we said we were building the character from the start. We do have a lot of strong fire skills here already, so that's already a plus. We are going to work on crit. We did get 30% in a row there, and then multicast frequency, multicast, and area of effect. I think the fact that these skills need so much of everything does make them a lot more difficult to use as opposed to some others. The same work with the melee skills. You are looking at getting having to work on like everything. You need cast frequency, you need area of effect, then you need your damage and multicast and crit. It's just you need a whole lot of everything, and trying to get all of those stats within a single run as quickly as possible is quite difficult. So we are going to try our best to get everything that we want, but as you can see, we do deal a decent amount of damage. We were lucky enough to get some really, really good RNG in terms of skill power-ups, and then even the cool thing is, because we are running a trail skill that causes burn, we are able to kite the bosses a lot more and still deal damage to them successfully without really worrying about whether or not they are taking damage. So area of effect for lasting, that's going to increase Firestorm and Firewalk. We are going to grab that. Grab the crit, we're already on 90%, and then we can go for damage. We can add some that, more crit, perfect, crit, a multi, and then any stat that looks quite useful. Even movement speed can be quite good here. We do only have 2 dodges, but we seem to be in a really, really good spot. Now, the reason, and I mentioned this to one of the subscribers yesterday, or one of the viewers, that the reason we actually go to the bottom left is probably just what's the best wording to use here? It's not because I like the bottom left. I'm actually left-handed, so a lot of the time I think it's just I gravitate to the left-hand side. Just because I am left-handed. A lot of people don't like that the bottom isn't transparent, so it does make it harder to see things that show up. Generally, you'll end up killing them before that becomes a problem, but I do know what you mean, especially when you don't have all of the runes or skills that you're trying to look for. It can be quite difficult to see sometimes the circles, or some of the bosses AoEs or things like that, some of the enemy AoEs in that little corner. So people do prefer the top right or top left corners of the game. I just gravitate to bottom left because since the game's inception, I've always been playing in the bottom left, and it's just something that I do. There's no real reason to it. Just go to any corner that you want, that you feel is nice. Alright, we might have to turn off the visuals soon. As you can see, Firewalk is kind of killing us over here, making it a lot more difficult. We can turn them down quite a bit more and see from there. We can go for, we do even need that, no, we'll go Conflagrate there, more crit. This is fantastic. We are getting a huge amount of crits going over here, which is probably doing us the world of good. So we are on over 100% crit, which means we are going to be crit multi-striking. What that means is that every time we perform an attack, we will crit twice with that attack. That's what multi-crit does. So the same as how multicast, where one attack will count as multiple attacks. Same thing happens with crit multi. Every 100% crit is a guaranteed crit multi, so it works off 100%, 200% is 2 crits, 300% is 3 crits, and it works like that. So if I have 150, then I have 1.5 times chance of getting a multi-crit, and so on and so forth. But let's work on that. We can go for more. Oh, do we go cast frequency? I think the damage is more important over there. Movement speed and some more crit to go with our damage. It's going to be very interesting to see which skill deals the most amount of damage. Firestorm is very, very strong. We've also got Conflagrate, which is very, very strong as well. We do have just quite a few strong fire skills that we are working with that could be the best ones out there. But Flame, Wave and our Meteor are probably going to be less impactful. And Fire Pillar, I don't think it deals a lot of damage, but it has melting, which is a huge bonus to us because that reduces the armor of the bosses. So I think Conflagrate and the Flame or Firestorm are going to be the skills to look out for, and they should be the ones that have dealt the most amount of damage in terms of the 6 skills that we got. Alright, we did just get a legendary multicast on Flamestorm, so that's cool. Firestorm. I don't know, I think it should be called Flamestorm. Hey guys, Flamestorm sounds so much better. Okay, we do pick up a touch of ice there because Hypothermia is a fantastic skill to grab, or passive to grab, and being able to have frailty or fragility put onto bosses is fantastic because that's just going to make all of our skills deal more damage. Now this is the part where sitting in this corner is a bit of a problem. As you could see, we did get hit once or twice because we do get clipped on the wall just ever so slightly, and it does make a little bit of a problem for us in terms of movability. So as you can see, there is like a little bit of a alcove over there and it gets us stuck. So we're going to move to the top just to make it that little bit easier on ourselves. We can also get rid of a couple of these because we're going along the way. Get rid of this one. There we go. And then we can get rid of one more over here because it's not out of the way. Alright, so if you like the top corners, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They work just as well as all of the others. Ooh, Paladin coming down with that Templar's Verdict without me even realizing it. That was nasty. And we are going to have to turn the graphics all the way down. Our fire is causing us a little bit of FPS drops. Man, we lost a laugh. Not the end of the world. Alright, we are not in a very good space here right now. We do want the expansive, even though getting the damage is, you know, amazing. Getting that area of effect will be very, very good for our Firestorm because we don't have a lot of AoE on it. So there is a lot, you know, we do have to try and get a lot closer to the bosses than what we really would like to. And that's causing us a little bit of grief in terms of killing them at a relatively good, you know, space. Oh snap, these were the last bosses, I didn't even realize. Okay, so, you know, the run went quite smoothly, except for the one death that we had. But that's okay, we all know there is that one viewer. I'm not going to mention names because Dugbo might get upset. But we have that one viewer that likes me dying. And there we go, we at least had one death for you. So I hope that helps you with your urges to see people die in games. Anyway, Firestorm dealing the most amount of damage, Dogbite coming second, and Firewalk coming third. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you want to see videos like this again in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.